All right, everybody, welcome back in. This is Average Joe Sports Talk on our weekly high school breakdown. Very excited this week. We have some major games of around the area that we're going to cover. Obviously, our three main schools in the area, that being Southside, Etowah, and Gadsden. Last week we did a show that we didn't get to upload. Had some complications with it, but we're moving right along. It's no big deal. So what's important is the present time. And presently, when you look around the area between these three games, these three schools, there's some major games coming up. You got Etowah playing Moody, Oxford and Gadsden City's playing, and then you have a huge rivalry in Southside and Hokes Bluff. Huge games across the board, all of them very important games. We'll start with Etowah with this one. They did get the huge, massive win, first time to beat Gadsden City in their history, and Shannon's laughing about that. They did get that win last week, which was massive for their confidence, massive for their team moving forward. It did come with a price, though. DeRicky did get injured. Shannon, he is back this week, is that correct?
He is, from everything I've heard, he's back. He also had a car accident this week. Luckily, he was, pretty much unharmed, maybe bumps and bruises maybe, but he's good to go this week.
The good thing is they're definitely going to need him, moving forward. They need to get him back. Moody's one of those teams, there can't be no letdown. Gene Stalin said it best. If you don't think teams like this important, go ahead and lose one of them and see how important it is. So that being said, boys, give us a little breakdown on the Moody game.
Moody's, again, like Bo said, it's a classic trap game. Come off a big emotional win against Gadsden City, and not an area game, just against Moody. That's a senior-laden team. They didn't show a whole lot against Douglas. I believe they won 62-0 or something like that against Douglas.
Oh wow!
Didn't show many plays at all, and they pretty much just ran the ball down Douglas's throat. They won't be able to do that against Etowah. There's no possible way they'll line up and go man-to-man against Etowah and beat them. There's no way you can beat Etowah that way. There's no possible way. All of us witnessed their defense. It's an insanely talented, athletic group. Gadsden City didn't give up last week, and that was outstanding to watch. Etowah didn't give up. That was a really enjoyable, fun game to watch. I think this week, like we said, Etowah just doesn't need to run into the trap game. Take care of business, move on to the next week. I've got Etowah by 3 touchdowns at least.
Is Troop getting all the snaps with the ones this week? Or not?
I'm not sure on that. I would say yes. My guess would be yes, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I do know that I've talked to some people that absolutely, if you watch DeRicky play defense last week,
it looked good,
and he's never played before. The dude has not played defense before, and he looks like a seasoned veteran out there.
What is he, like 6'4", 6'5", 205, 210 pounds?
Wow. Yeah.
But he can fly.
Yeah.
He can move, man.
He can, Ollie Finch. That's those boys. It's crazy how they get after it out there in the secondary. But I look forward to getting the rest to start. Maybe play starters in the first half. Hopefully get them out there, get some younger guys in there in the second half. But again, the main thing is just take care of business.
One thing that was pretty interesting last week is how you guys called the game. Reggie's exact words, second half, I do believe Gadsden City's depth is going to come into play. It's going to wear the wall down. That is exactly what happened.
It is.
Then Shannon said, I do think we have to turn them over and get some easy scores off of it, or we might not win the game. And that's exactly what had to happen to win. Two late defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
You guys were both right on top of it, man, on that one. That being said, let's move straight over to Gadsden City and Oxford. This is going to be a massive, massive game. Yeah. Gadsden City, I'm sure they cannot wait to get back on the field after that loss, but they're running into a very talented team, maybe the best 1-2 punch at coordinators in the state, with Coach Wagden and Coach Osmond as offensive and defensive coordinators, respectively. And depending on which, whether it's 24/7 or rivals, the number one prospect in the state also plays with Oxford. Then Mr. Clay Webb at center, he's phenomenal. So that being said, what's Gadsden City going to do to prepare for them?
I did speak with a couple of guys after the game last week, and they're just ready to get back on the field and move forward past the Etowah game. They felt good after that game. There was nothing to hang your head about. So they're just ready to get back. Oxford is technically, I guess you could say, a rivalry game because we were in the same region. When Gadsden City was in 6A, and the games have been back and forth over the years. And I think Gadsden City has a slight edge in the series. So it's going to be a huge game. I know Oxford travels well. They're going to bring their crowd, and Gadsden City is going to be here. And so they're just, just taking it one game at a time, going 1 week at a time. We had a sophomore quarterback come in the second half against Etowah last week, and not sure who they're going to start. I don't know if we're going to do 2 quarterbacks again this week, but from the way he played, I would look for them to go with him.
He was a spark.
He was. He came in the game.
You better not give him a crease either.
Yeah, DeMarcus Macon, sophomore. It's a lot of talent, to be so young. So I'm looking for a close game. Last year was kind of a letdown. Oxford, I think, beat them 41-13. I don't see that happening in Titan Stadium.
No.
I'm going to say Gadsden City fans don't hate me for this, but I'm going with Oxford by 3, 24-21, type game. But, it could go either way being a rivalry game, because there's been years when Gadsden City was supposed to win, Oxford came and won, and vice versa. So you never really know with these games. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, Friday night.
Could be a little rain in the forecast too. Correct?
Yeah. Could be a little bit of rain. If it rains, I know a lot of people probably stay away, but the game will be televised on My 68, starting at 7. So
good deal. As long as we keep the lightning out,
Exactly.
little drizzle, we're fine. That's
we'll be
football,
good.
isn't it,
Yeah,
right there?
we'll be good.
All right, good breakdown. All right, so now to this massive game for Etowah County. These 2 teams hook up. It's always fun. 2 things I promise you when them 2 teams hook up, there's going to be a lot of excitement and there's going to be some pads popping every single time these 2 teams hook up. We're fortunate enough to have Mr. Kelly Dees in the house tonight, who's been with the Southside program for 28 years. He's been a part of this team. This guy's an encyclopedia, not only for Southside football, but football in general in this county. This guy can name, he'll tell you every player on every team and every touchdown. This guy's an encyclopedia, and I'm so fortunate to have him here, as well as Dax. Dax, we'll start with you, man. Like, after last week's game, Reggie and I went and traveled. I seen a lot of fight out there. I seen, a few, red zone troubles that ultimately led to a loss for Southside. But this is a huge opportunity to rebound against the number 3 team in the state in 4A, correct?
Correct.
So,
I think that, we made a bunch of mistakes, but I think that one thing that we took away from that game is that, the mistakes that were made can be fixed easily. I think, it was like we took kind of, and I was talking to Coach Darty about this today. I said, it was like if you take 2 steps forward and we took 3 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple penalties on, that would have made that 4th down, and it would be called back and it was automatic first down. So, it was just tough to get the rhythm going. I think that we kind of, drove the ball down the field pretty consistently, but once we got into their red zone or, really over their 50-yard line on their side of the field, we really couldn't do much with the ball. And I think it was a key to if our guys make the right block, there's no telling, what could happen.
what's the, this more than anything, Mothwell, what's he looking like? Is he going to play Friday, do you know?
We don't really know.
Still concussion protocol?
No, really, it's he's still a game time decision. I think that, we haven't really, we don't know much about him. We're just going to leave it with that's a game time decision.
Game time decision, that's good. On the other side of the ball, stopping Meads from Hokes Bluff.
And, I think, last season they held him to, I think it was 46 yards. Even though he did score 2 touchdowns, they held him to 46 yards. So they stopped the run real well. And, just before we started, I was seeing what, the guys in Times was saying. He said if Southside can stop Meads, they have a good chance to win the ball game. Well, we stopped Meads last year. So I don't think that he's really the big threat. I think, the deal was last year we stopped Meads, but you really still had Johnson, at quarterback. He was a gunslinger. Now that Hokes Bluff has a new quarterback and a couple of new guys, that doesn't take away from their athleticism, but it does take away from experience. And I think with that being said, I like our chances.
Yeah, Johnson definitely could take the top off the defense if he loaded the box. Yeah. And that's what a lot of teams did last year.
I think, and you're right, I think a lot of teams did, like you said, load up the box, get in a goal line D, and then, he'd kill you in the air. So,
that's true.
I think if we can stop the run, I think that our corners on both sides are, very capable of stopping on the passing game.
That's a good one. What do you feel? How do you feel about the game?
30-14. So.
I like it. 30 to 14.
14.
Southside.
Wow, that's
Only game in the county tomorrow night.
That is
Opening up
good. And that
tomorrow
place
night.
will be packed.
I believe so.
Barney Hood, correct?
Barney Hood. We're really excited. I think after last week, just like he said, we're kind of itching to get back on the field. We knew as we got on the bus at Lincoln that there was things that we could have done differently to help us win that ball game. I think that like I said, the first half we come out kind of slow and flat. We got in halftime, asked them to do the things, and I think that we did the little things that they needed to do. But I think there was a lot more that could have been done, and I think that was a testament of just
clean up the mistakes.
Yeah, just clean up the mistakes, like Kelly said, and if you do that, I think it's a whole different ball game. And it's unfortunate that we, had the result that we had, and a result that we didn't want. But I think that if we go back out there tomorrow, and like you said, can beat the number 3 team in the state, it's a huge boost of confidence.
There's no doubt. I think that'll erase that week 1 loss.
Oh,
to
yeah,
Lincoln,
it will.
Now, and I seen the news today about Lincoln's coach. Did y'all see something about him?
I didn't hear anything.
I didn't.
I thought I read today that Lincoln's coach passed away. When was that? I seen that. I don't know if that was.
There was one that's named after him. Yes.
Yes.
Keith Howard.
Yeah, Keith Howard.
He
Yes,
passed
had a
away.
heart attack.
When
yeah.
was that?
Something like that.
Okay.
The stadium's named after him. I noticed that when we were going in.
Yeah.
Since 97.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I wondered about that because traveling there last week or whatever, I was like, what was the story behind
Yeah,
that?
I've been asked about that, and I told the guys, I said, they said he had a heart attack on the sidelines or
Yeah.
whatever. I didn't see any commotion, so I don't know, but I do know that like he said, their stadium is called Keith Howard.
Long time.
Okay, I got you. I was wondering the story about that. This, like I said, this man's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from him. Just
Yeah.
talking to him before we
Yeah,
go
we
to
talk
the
about like
building.
games, like even Gadsden high games and everything. Over the years, let me ask you this before we close out. Kelly D, what's some of your favorite games ever that you've seen following Southside over all these years?
Too many.
You was there when they broke the Etowah streak, I'm sure. Was that 97? They beat Etowah finally?
I think so.
Yep. And I remember it was at Etowah. You remember
Who was coach, Kelly?
Walter Alexander was one year.
No, who was the coach at Southside?
Roger Hibbs.
Yeah,
There you
y'all
go.
beat Gadsden High in '96 as well. They put a pretty good beating on us that year.
Hey, this guy knows his stuff, man. Guys, this is Average Joe Sports Talk. All right, go ahead. What's
One thing I forgot to mention, and I did want to make sure I mention this, is Jamin Graham had a huge second half against, you guys actually had 2 fumble recoveries for touchdown. I wanted to give him a shout out because, his granddad, Mr. Graham,
Yeah,
I did
passed
think about
away
that.
beginning
I
of
did
the
hear
week.
about
He could have easily taken last week off and nobody would have thought twice about it and would have, understood 100%. But he hung in there, and when Gadsden City took the lead, 23-20, number 7 was down there on the sidelines getting everybody up, pumped up. Hey, we're not done, we're not finished. And then he got rewarded with a touchdown, just effort plays, all that was. And then the second touchdown also. I just want to give him a shout out. I know everyone knows who Jamin is, and he's a great player, outstanding kid, and really outstanding kid. And I just think I liked what he showed last week. I really did, and it shows beyond football. Actually, he's a good kid.
Yeah, Mr. Graham was always a super guy, man. I remember him in the middle school. He was always a great guy. Always treated everybody with respect. Great teacher. Great man to have around. Tallahassee City schools in general.
That's right.
Well respected man, Mr. Graham was.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to
You're
make sure
good,
you said
brother.
that.
This is Average Joe Sports Talk, and this is going to close us out. Good night.